Welcome to Shiny New Clients, the marketing podcast that helps you attract shiny new clients to your business. We'll talk about social media, what makes people buy, how to go viral, and marketing psychology, all in 20 minutes or less. Whether you're a coach, a stylist, or a wedding planner, if you've got a service-based business to sell, this is the show you need to fill your calendar. I'm Jenna Warriner, your new marketing coach, and this is Shiny New Clients. I was just talking to a comedian this week, and I was coaching them on their social media and their content, and one of the things they said really struck me. They were like, I'm having a hard time with this concept of opening my heart and putting my work and my art out there and risking it not performing well. That really resonated with me. I think all of us feel this at some point to some extent, right? Maybe to you it looks more like, I don't want to be embarrassed if this post doesn't do well. Maybe it's like every time I talk about something that's actually important, I get the lowest amount of views. Maybe one of these sentences sort of resonates. To them, it was like their stand-up tells their personal life story. It talks about things that are emotionally raw. And if they put that content up online and it doesn't get a bazillion views, it makes them go, I mean, was this worth it? It's almost like a smack in the heart. If that's you and that's how you've been feeling, I want to offer a few different ways that we can look at this. Some strategic and analytical, and others emotional. We've found ourselves in a world where we have this amazing asset, social media, the freest way to get your business in front of a bazillion people, the freest way to send someone to your website or to your sales page or to your email list or whatever they have to do to take that next step to buy from you. It's this huge asset and opportunity. And in order to take advantage of it, we need to expose ourselves and our vulnerability to the masses, which, let's be clear, is not something that is normal. It's not something that most humans are going to need to go through. But right now, if you want to excel on Instagram or any social media platform, posting Canva graphics just isn't going to cut it. That's not the content marketing that's going to take off. So you started this business. You thought, I want to help people. I want to do this thing that I'm good at. I want to make a bunch of money. And now you are a public figure. Now you are a spokesperson. And now you're a freaking actor. And that's never what you thought that you were getting yourself into. So we can resent it. We can find alternatives and not be on social media. Or you can figure out a way to make it work. And part of that means shielding up, having your boundaries, energetic and literal boundaries, following a strategy so that you know what you're doing, and doing the personal work that it takes to be in front of an audience like this. I get that I'm lucky because I grew up on stage and I came to marketing second. I was used to being in front of people. I've been on stage since I was 9 years old. In Alice in Wonderland. And then I thought that I was going to be an actor. So I spent my entire life doing it, right? I went to an arts high school out of town. I went to college for musical theater. I did the whole actor thing, commercial actor. You might have caught me selling you a Philly cheesesteak in a Tim Hortons commercial. I've been on stage for more hours than I can count, hosting cabarets and blah, 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 blah. The point is, I'm used to being in front of people. I got to do all of this work before I came to marketing. And I totally understand that that isn't most people's lived experience. But because of that, I have the skills in my pocket to also teach you how to do it and help you feel comfortable sharing yourself with the world. So firstly, from a strategic point of view, when a post doesn't take off, it doesn't do what you wanted it to do, how you expected it to perform. In that moment, which is frustrating, I get it. The first instinct is going to be like annoyance and frustration, but you get to control what you make that mean. You can make that post not performing well mean that you stink and your hair looked stupid, so nobody watched it, which is not true, but it's always what we think. You can make it mean that the algorithm hates you, which is not true and not going to be helpful. You get to decide what it means. And I wish that I could crawl into your brain and I could decide what it means, because I wouldn't tell you that it means that the post was no good or that your point was moot or that you looked silly. I would look at it and think, well, if the story you're telling in this post is important to you, let's put a different hook on it and try that. Let's add more engagement attractors and try that. Engagement attractors is a strategy that I teach my clients to help you get more engagement on your posts and take it into your own hands. So let's get more engagement on this. Let's change the hook. Let's shorten it. Let's fix the format, not assume you are broken or your idea wasn't good. Let's fix the format. Let's fix the carburetor. There's a missing nut or bolt in this machine. And what if it's just a tiny little bolt that needs to be tightened? We don't need to throw away the entire product. Part of being in front of people and showing ourselves to people is we need to be so strong in what we believe about ourselves and the message that we believe. If you look at some of the, who do I follow? I follow this one girl. Oh, she's so famous. What's her name? Man, I can't think of it. But any big people that you follow, they have opinions and they are sure in their opinions and they know who they are. Because if they didn't, when a million people tell them in the comment sections what they think of them and what they think about who they are, they would have an existential crisis, right? So we need to be so sure in who we are, so sure in our message, and not make a post not performing or a negative comment mean anything about us except for that post, that piece of content probably needed to be optimized a little differently. Something needed to be said a little differently. It needed a different hook. Not that everything that matters to us is trash. You know what I'm saying? I was away this weekend teaching at an expo. And so I was invited to come speak. I had 2 classes that I had to teach, and different from theater, when you teach at a conference, the lights are up, right? So in theater, you can't see the audience. You can't look at their eyes. You can't see how they're responding. You just hear them laugh and you hear them applaud, and, and it's easy to kind of pretend they're not even there sometimes. But at a conference, you've got fluorescent lights shining down on you, and the audience, it's not their responsibility to be active listeners. They're just sitting, taking everything in, which means usually you're looking at a bunch of blank stares and resting angry faces, because it's not their responsibility to change their faces. That's why I always lock eyes with someone who's smiling and oh, great, I'm going to look at you the whole time because I feel so much better and safer looking at these smiling people. So I needed to adapt to that as a performer. I needed to look out at people who are giving me nothing on their face and put up my wall, my shield, and remember whatever I'm seeing on their face, what do I want to make it mean? Do I want to make it mean that I am boring? That they already know everything that I'm teaching, that their wife dragged them here, and that this is not interesting, and that my examples are stupid and my jokes aren't funny? Do I want to make their blank face mean that? Or do I want to decide that their blank face means they're listening, they're internalizing, they're thinking, they're taking what they need and leaving what they don't? We have to do so much work controlling our inner narrative when we have eyes on us like that. I need to look at my slides and go, Jenna, you made these slides. You believe these slides. The strategy you're teaching is based on your experience. Stand strong in what you are teaching. At one point this weekend, this always happens when you open up the floor for people to raise their hands. Someone will inevitably raise their hands and they don't have a question. They actually just have a comment, or they want to start teaching. And that happened. If you're listening, girl, I don't care. I just want to teach about it. I just want to talk about it for a second. But this girl raised her hand and was like, can I answer that last guy's question? And to be honest, she understood his question more than I did. I think that I didn't quite understand what he was asking. But so she started answering him, and I actually didn't agree with what she said. I didn't think what she was giving was good advice for the room, and I addressed it. Old Jenna would not have done that. I would have been so concerned. I would have thought, well, she's probably smarter than me, and if she's brave enough to speak up, then she probably knows what she's talking about. But I was like, yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. That's not how I would do it. Like, I fully just had to stand in my belief in myself and my belief in my material and contradict her. It was so uncomfortable. I didn't like it, but I did survive it. Another way to look at this super constructively is not every post you publish needs to take off. Not everyone needs to. And one of the benefits of my growth, nurture, sales strategy that I teach my clients in Magic Marketing Machine is we know that nurture content typically doesn't perform the same way growth content does, and that's okay. So when you post a long story time that goes a little bit deeper and builds your authority and your brand authority, that's not the stuff that goes viral. That is not the stuff that your followers are sharing with their group chat. It's not the stuff the algorithm is going to pick up and take wide. It's not going to make the evening news, and that's not its job. The job of your nurture content is to connect with people, to show that you know what you're talking about, to build authority and make them feel safe buying from you. So when you use the growth, nurture, sales strategy, you don't judge each post the same way. Every post has a different job, and you judge it based on what its job was. It's unrealistic to hope that everything you put up on Instagram gets the most views of the week. It doesn't make sense math-wise. And also, it's just not how the platform works. I want to remind you of one more truth. One more truth. Why is it that you are telling yourself that when you post something and it doesn't get a ton of views, some anonymous jerk face is going to your page and looking at all the views you got on your reels this week and going, that one only got however many. That one didn't get as many as the other ones. Look how bad this one reel they posted are. And then you're running and deleting it and archiving it because you think because this one person that doesn't exist is looking at your content and pointing out the ones that didn't do as well as the other ones by their standards. Why are you telling yourself that? Why are any of us telling ourselves that? No one is looking at your posts and judging the ones that didn't perform well. Actually, the ones that didn't perform well are the least likely to get in front of someone for them to even judge them. All right. So we're going to stop deleting our posts. We're going to stop archiving them. We're going to stop worrying. We're going to stop making posts that don't perform mean something about us and who we are and how good we are at our jobs. If you want to challenge yourself to start showing up with more authenticity and a little bit more raw, right? Connecting to your audience without feeling like everything needs to be perfect and edited and filtered and smoothed. The best way to start is by using Instagram stories, because when we look at Instagram stories, we expect them to be a lot more casual than a reel or a carousel. We expect them to be in the moment. If you see graphics in your Instagram stories, I can almost promise you just skip by them. Think about the ones you watch. It's someone who just picked up their phone because they had something important in that moment to say to you. They pick it up, they put it down. It's not filtered. It's not like perfectly edited and high quality. It's really casual, which really builds trust. Stories are the perfect place to build trust with your hottest leads, because stories are also being shown to the people who typically interact with you the most and who you're like direct messaging with, right? So you probably have hot leads watching your Instagram stories right now, and they're thinking about buying. And we want to build that trust, nurture that trust, and then give them an invitation to choose now to work with you. And if you want to do all of that in 1 week, you're going to want to get Strategic Stories, the 5-day challenge. I will send you a little video. You can watch a little video every single day. It's going to take you less than 10 minutes to watch the prompt and film your video. The goal of Strategic Stories was to take away all of the strife of having to think of what to post and give you a nice balanced week of stories where you're like nurturing and getting more engagement and interacting with people and then selling. But a lot of people do this challenge and then sell a ton at the end of the week, which is also really fun. So that's a quick little challenge. It costs practically nothing. You can find it below this episode, and I would encourage you, if you do it, DM me and we can chat about it and I'll watch your stories. Quick thank you to everyone who has been leaving comments and reviews and ratings on this show. I was not seeing the Apple reviews, and there was a whole bunch sitting there. And some of you left positive feedback and constructive feedback. I appreciate all of it. And I actually didn't see it until now. Also, if you're listening to this show on Apple, make sure that you can see the reviews, okay? Because turns out I accidentally published this show twice on Apple, and some people listen on one and some people listen on the other and are subscribed to it, and I need to delete one because it was an administrative error. So if you're listening to this on Apple and you can't see any reviews, search Shiny New Clients and follow the right show, because the one you're listening to is about to be deleted and I don't want to lose you. All right? That's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.